Oh my God, you guys, I put my ear to the street to find out exactly what happened with that JayZ Rock Nation Desiree Perez casino that was rejected. And baby, this is verified. JayZ and Desiree Perez were basically treating the neighborhood community leaders that were in charge of literally approving $1 billion investment, treating them like groupies. Then you're not even going to believe how many of our civil leaders were literally arguing to put one of the most destructive things known to cities, mainly casinos, in the middle of the heart of New York City in Broadway town. Yo, let's get into this, because I swear to God, you're not going to believe this mess. You know, let me just say that I don't understand actually, let me just read what it said, okay? They said, so they needed an advisory committee to vote their way, okay? So there's steps to actually getting a casino, especially in a crowded, dense, thriving city situation. Usually people try to get casinos in like places that are hit hard, already look like Meth Town, USA, or places that really, really need that financial incentive. They don't go to prime real estate where tourists and all that other stuff are, right? Anyway, so what you have to do is, so there's a community advisory board. There's 6 people that sit on that advisory board, either 6 to 8 people. Before it can even go to the state and get the state to vote on whether they approve your casino, okay, you need to get past the community advisory board. Why? Because the figures are there. I don't care how much they try to sell gambling as black and brown excellence. It is nothing but a cancer that feeds on people's legitimate addictions. If you've ever known anybody to be addicted to gambling, if you've ever read about gambling addiction, you would know how crazy this is, that they're trying to position this like this is the second coming. And the people that are acting like it, y'all are dummies. Y'all are, not y'all, but they are dummies. They are sheeps, and they really need to educate themselves, all right? Now, okay, so anyway, you need the community to sign off. Why? Because it's so destructive to the community that if the community is not on board, it's going to be a lot of problems. Again, they literally be like, okay, you consented to this, right? You consented to this, so when things start going and running amok, you can't blame us. Now, I think when we saw Desiree Perez, her daughter-in-law, at that whole Global Reform Alliance, we saw Robert Kraft, we saw Michael Rubin, who, by the way, I think was part of the investors in this, and we saw the Kushners. I think they had the state legislation on lock, which is why I think they were trying to get it past community, right? Who knew that the community would be the ones to shut this down? But listen to the ways they were doing this. They said early on, the Times Square group approached State Senator Liz Krueger. She may have been a diehard gambling opponent. Liz said, I voted against bingo in church basements. But she controlled one of the 6 votes on the Times Square's CAC. That's the Community Advisory Committee. In a Zoom meeting, she said, the casino team asked her if she wanted to meet JayZ. You are talking to a state senator, and you literally said to her, yo, you want to meet JayZ? Like she's a groupie. Liz responded back, why? I don't like his music particularly, she recalled saying. And after that, instead of being embarrassed for even talking to her like that, they said, and this is to quote Liz, a state senator, you don't want to meet JayZ? Well, you know who he's married to. Yo, they literally were using Beyonce to sweeten the deal. Now, here's the thing, right? Because I know it's going to be a bunch of people, oh my God, you hating. I'm not. JayZ and Beyonce, get your money, capitalism, black wealth as a black woman. Get your money. But what we're not going to do is promote gambling and all the things that come from the casinos, crime, gambling, drinking, rug use, prostituting, into a neighborhood, okay? It doesn't make any sense. So they go on to say, Liz says she didn't meet Beyonce, nor did she get together with Sean Carter, not even when JayZ went to the state capitol in Albany this May. But the Times Square casino crew used other ways to make their plan more convincing. Now here's this. They recruited former NYPD Commissioner Bill Bratton, who came up with a $78 million plan to secure the neighborhood with drones, cameras, and private security force? Again, if this casino wasn't going to harm the community, you came up with a plan for drones, cameras, and private security force? They pledged to buy tens of millions of dollars worth of theater tickets to promote the Broadway business. Now, here's the thing, right? I'm very disappointed at the people that actually supported it. Listen. They said, and Desiree Perez, even at the meeting, said, it's not like we're trying to stick this casino building in between some residential neighborhood like it's super quiet. This is supposed to be live and loud. Okay, right? Now, there are still plenty of locals in the neighborhoods around Times Square. Now, a lot of those locals were afraid of it turning back because Times Square just got cleaned up. And if you've never lived in New York, you wouldn't know that area is where Broadway is. Broadway is one of the major attractions to New York City. Why would Broadway displace themselves? So the Carters and all these other people, which by the way, you had Reverend Al Sharpton, you had Alicia Keys, you had Fat Joe, all these people that look like us are supposed to be supporting us, literally fighting till they're blue in the face to get something in the community that would be 100% destructive, in my opinion, to black and brown people. Again, big fan of Beyonce. Jay-Z is a visionary businessman, but are we gonna call a spade? I feel like everybody's on their groupie stuff. Would you want a casino next to your house? And if you would, then go move to a town and sign off so they can start a casino, because I know they're looking for a casino somewhere. Anyway, get this. They had Fat Joe, a Roc Nation client, show up to lend support. One prominent local community advocate told reporters she wasn't that impressed. She said, I think it's like a predatory business, okay? That was Alita Lafargue. But here's the thing, right? Following that September, after Alita Farag was like, yeah, I'm not like this, right? All of a sudden, she said out the blue in more conciliatory tone about a year later, we're to listen to what they have to say, what they have to offer. However, it was leaked in the paper that there was a $20,000 monthly contract for Lafarge to provide, that's the girl that did the about face on the community board, to provide strategic counsel to the casino project. Desiree Perez said we continued to speak to her, and she wanted Lafarge to be a conduit to the community. And then Desiree said, we have another community leader that would take a consulting fee and did sign up for us to work with her as she could lead us. However, Lafarge had conflicting stories, and she said, I never signed that contract. Again, they then said they would give $22.5 million over 15 years to Manhattan Plaza. Do you know how little that is off of billions, okay? They then said it was gonna cost the casino $5.4 billion just to build it, right? They then got Alicia Keys, a Roc Nation client who grew up in Manhattan, reportedly met residents later that day to talk about the deal, okay? They were pulling out everybody they could. The Wire's Wendell Pierce signed on after a $10 million pledge to support traditionally black theaters. Reverend Al Sharpton, who has long supported casino projects. I think Reverend Al Sharpton, don't get me wrong, I don't want to disrespect his legacy. He has done a lot of good, and he continues to do a lot of good, right? No one's perfect. But let's not act like he's only doing this because I'm sure he was going to get a cut too. Reverend Al Sharpton got on board with this particular project early in the summer. Months later, the casino team made a $15 million pledge to build a civil rights museum. Charlemagne the God popped by a community advocacy meeting, hearing and expressed his support. So did Fat Joe, who introduced himself with this given name and his Bronx zip code. I'm Joseph Cartagena, 10456. Other casino bidders have some measure of star power. Okay, so here's the thing also. Let me tell you what I think went wrong with this. I think Jay-Z tried to run the same play, and by Jay-Z, I mean Roc Nation, that they ran for the Barclays Center. Now, you can argue whether you think the Barclays Center was good or bad. That's like, a lot of people say it was bad, some people say it was good, whatever. But everybody you bought in was black and brown. Now, they were very rich. None of them actually lived in Hell's Kitchen. None of them lived in a neighbor. So that's like me coming to your neighborhood and be like, I absolutely do believe the new sewage treatment facility should be right next to your bedroom window. And let me tell you why this is great for the community. Of course, because it's not happening in my backyard. If y'all really walking and like a talking, Joe, Charlemagne, Alicia, JayZ, Beyonce, put a casino next to your house. Put a casino where your kids go to school. Put a casino where you live and work. Oh, that's right. You're putting it in the poor Hell's Kitchen neighborhood to help the community. Now, here's the second thing. JayZ's, Reverend Al Sharpton was like, this isn't somebody trying to, you want to talk about what the community wants. We are the community. Okay, that worked in Brooklyn. That doesn't work in Hell's Kitchen. You guys don't live in New York, so you might not know, but if you've ever lived in New York, Hell's Kitchen is not a predominantly black or brown neighborhood. Hell's Kitchen, you know who lives in Hell's Kitchen? All the theater kids, all the actors, all the performers, people that have held their houses forever. Now, I'm not saying there's no black or brown people that live in Hell's Kitchen, but it's not like Marcy's Projects. It's not like the Bronx. Like, it's not a predominantly black and brown neighborhood. It is very much gentrified, especially because of Broadway. So for you to be like, yeah, you asked what the community want. We are the community. I think the people in the Community Advisory Committee was like, who is this we speak of? What are you talking about? Seriously, what are you talking about? You guys, I think it's wild that they literally treated council people, that they literally treated state senators and community advisor council people like they were groupies, and literally thought by sprinkling in Fat Joe, Alicia Keys, Charlemagne the God, Reverend Al Sharpton, JayZ and Beyonce, Desiree, which by the way, none of them live in that area, about what a good thing it would be. Man, this didn't even make it off the ground. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people invested tens of millions. It said that some people invested hundreds of millions into this thing to try to get it off the ground, and it is a huge loss. But again, I don't understand. Go put a casino out in the Badlands where nobody wants to go. Go put a casinos, gambling, it's not good. Listen, they came out with Ace of Spades, they came out with Sir Carter, fine, whatever, drinking, I get it. But gambling? Nah, baby, that's another level. And if you don't know how destructive it is to the community, you need to just don't even pick up a book. Ask ChatGPT. Go to Google. Google anything. And also on top of that, when it comes to casinos, at least the community activists were smart enough to be like, wait a second, most casinos, all this money they pledge over 15 years, they never actually pay it back. They never actually give the money, because most casinos, especially in this economy, are actually flopping. Regardless, I want to know, and I'm serious, and I'll jump in the comments, how do y'all feel about this? Like the fact that the new capitalism is dressing up predatory practices that everybody does, but now you're literally dressing yourselves up like civil rights leaders, treating state senators like they're groupies. Fat Joe should be ashamed of himself. Reverend Al Sharpton should be ashamed of himself. Charlemagne the God should be ashamed of themselves. Alicia Keys should be ashamed of herself. I know why they did it. I'm not stupid. They saw a bag. They said, it's not my community, not where my kids go to school, not where my kids will be walking around. I don't care about it. This whole community can go to hell. You never gonna see me driving in Times Square unless I'm gonna be performing at a show. Maybe I'll be an investor, and we can laugh about what's going on and destroy Broadway in that whole neighborhood and laugh about it while we're counting our millions and billions that we made off the deal. Again, that's just my take on things. I'll go live to give you, if you guys want, today or tomorrow, to give you guys some more tea. Let me know in the comments, but let me know what you think. And this is beyond, oh yeah, they finally got humbled. This ain't about humbling anything. This literally is about like, yo, what is going on? You are now trying to package poison as the cure. And again, it literally speaks about class solidarity. The way these rich people really don't care, and they will try to give anything. They will try to give and do anything to make a dollar, but packaging it, like you tried to do something good for the community? No, ma'am. No, ma'am, indeed. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to you later. Bye.